Hello friends, welcome to Crown Grow channel. Today we're going to read about these topics. 1. Slow down. You're not falling behind. 2. How to find mentors. 3. How to build the self-confidence you need to win at life. 4. 5 ways to build a thicker skin so you can go through life smiling. Let's start now. The text you wrote above is already in English. I have copied it for you. Slow down. You're not falling behind. Nothing annoys me more than the loss of time. When I feel like I'm wasting my time on useless activities, or when I'm spending time with negative people, I get frustrated. When it comes to time, I agree with what Darwin once said. A man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. But I've found that an obsession with time can put unnecessary pressure on yourself. I see it a lot with ambitious people, anyone who wants to get the most out of life. They feel like they have to use every single minute of life. Things have to happen. Quick, now. You have to keep pounding forward like a freight train that stops for nothing. It's great that you want to achieve a lot and live a life of contribution, but does that mean it has to happen now? But there's a fine line between understanding the value of time and being impatient. One of my mentors is an entrepreneur in his late 40s. When I recently told him I get impatient, he told me he's exactly the same. He said, "Impatience makes smart people do stupid things. We all try to get ahead. We work hard, put all our energy and love in relationships. We work on ourselves, our character. But sometimes, we feel like we've fallen behind. I'm still sharing an apartment with 3 strangers. I'm not married yet. We still don't have kids. My business still hasn't taken off. I didn't get my big break yet. I'm still waiting to become a manager. I'm stuck in the same job for years. I'm not losing weight. I don't want to pretend I'm past that." We all have those feelings. And the higher you move up the ladder, the higher your standards become. When I was in college, I couldn't wait to get out so I could get my own place and stop sharing a dirty old apartment with 3 other guys. And when I started earning money, I got a place of my own. But a few years later, when I moved to London from Holland, I had to give up my 2-bedroom apartment with a roof terrace to live in an apartment that was smaller and that I had to share with a stranger. It felt like I was back at square one. Take a step back. There's nothing wrong with that. Switching careers, education, cities are all hard. In a way, you are taking a step back momentarily, but you'll bounce back. That's hard to remind yourself when you're in the moment. When I was in college, I had a marketing professor who used to be a physician. Yes, that means he studied 9 or 10 years to become a general practitioner. Then he worked as a GP for a decade. And in his 40s, he decided he didn't want to be a doctor anymore. He was always passionate about business administration and marketing. So he pursued a master's degree in business, and later he got a PhD in marketing. I think that whole process took him 6 or 7 years. And when he was my professor, he was in his late 50s. But the guy looked 20 years younger and was full of energy. He truly loved what he did. Plus, he was proud of the long road he took. The road that you travel turns you into the person you are today. I meet a lot of people in their 20s who are frustrated that life is not exactly the way they want. I even meet people in their 30s and 40s like that. It's a universal thing, and that thing is called impatience. Like my mentor said, you do stupid things when you're impatient. Do you really need to buy a house? Do you really want to get married? Do you really want to take that promotion? Do you really have to sell your business? Do you really love your job? Do you really have to take on that client? Don't do all these things because you always wanted to do those things. Don't do things because you're afraid of the alternative. Because the alternative is always harder. Shit. Does that mean I have to work for free? Does that mean I have to start all over? What? I can't be single. Does that mean I have to study for years? But hardship defines you and your character. So suit up, forget about the fast train, step in a car, and prepare yourself for one long ride that's called life. But remember, drive slow. How to find mentors. Before there were books, universities or classes, there were mentorships to pass on wisdom and knowledge. In the West, mentorships existed since the ancient Greek times. It's a tried and true method of learning. Sometimes people mix up apprenticeships and mentorships. An apprenticeship is basically an internship, which is a system that was created in the Middle Ages. If you wanted to become a tailor, baker, or merchant, you became an apprentice first and learned the craft on the job. The main difference between the two is that mentorships are informal. And that's exactly what makes it difficult to find a mentor. Most people understand the value of mentors, but finding one is not easy. I also didn't have mentors until I was out of college. But in the past 6 years, I've been lucky to cross paths with 3 great people who became mentors to me and taught me invaluable lessons. There are also several other people that I speak to every once in a while. We exchange ideas and share knowledge. They are also like mentors. So mentors come in many types of relationships. Here are 7 things I learned about finding a mentor. 1. Become a learning machine. Before you start thinking about finding a mentor, you want to think about 2 things. What's your field? What can you bring to the table? It's astonishing to me that people want to find a mentor without any sense of direction. For example, if you want to work in sports, it doesn't make sense to find a mentor who's in art unless you want to bring art to sports. If you're looking for someone who grabs you by the hand and tells you about life, you don't need a mentor, you need experience. And you only get experience by doing things. You can't expect that people hand you everything. That's not what a mentor does. First, decide what industry you want to work in. Second, study that industry. Before you find real-life mentors, your mentors are books, degrees, courses, YouTube videos, or any other source of knowledge. You need basic knowledge of life and your field if you want to find a mentor. No one's waiting for a puppy that they have to raise. It's important to bring something to the table before you approach potential mentors. 2. Work on your emotional intelligence. Because of the informal nature of mentorships, you need emotional intelligence if you want to find a mentor. Emotional intelligence can be defined in many ways, and my definition is this: don't be annoying. If you have a mentor, you will spend time with her, and because it's informal, it all comes down to likability. Likability is also something that some companies stress upon during interviews. Because they know they will spend a lot of time with people who join their company, they ask themselves a version of this question: would I hang out with this person? If you don't want to be annoying, here are some tips. Don't try to be someone you are not. Don't think you know it all. Be honest and humble. Don't try too hard. Tell stories. Basically, do whatever Dale Carnegie writes in How to Win Friends and Influence People. 3. Don't ask. Let's get down to the practical stuff. If there's someone you look up to and you want to learn from, it's time to approach her. You can find people who could mentor you everywhere. Don't just think of influential people. Look in your family, the family of your friends of your friends, etc. Look close. That will make it easier to connect. But you don't call or email someone and say, "Will you be my mentor?" People will probably think you're delusional. Most people don't mind helping others, but it also can't be a one-way street. If you're contacting someone for the first time, try to keep it short and simple. You can ask a simple question or give them praise. You don't want to ask for anything big. Also, please don't email people and offer them coffee in exchange for free advice. Anyone can buy coffee, but not everyone actually can bring something valuable to the table. You have to be compelling for someone to spend time with you. 4. Add value. When the other person responds to you, start thinking about adding value to them. You can do that by researching them or their company. And if you want to add value, you need number 1 on this list. You can't add much value if you don't have knowledge or experience. Offer them help, create something, give them ideas, anything. Be proactive. 5. Be mindful of the other person's time. Always keep in mind that the other person doesn't owe you anything and never will. You're looking for a mutual relationship. If you ever want to set up a meeting, do it whenever they have time and wherever they are. It shows that you're serious about learning, will do whatever it takes, and most importantly, that you have emotional intelligence. 6. Take your craft seriously. If you're approaching someone who's successful in what they do, it's very likely that they take their job seriously. You want to meet them with the same intensity and passion. Also, don't fake it or try to find a mentor so you can tell others about it. One of my mentors told me early on, "I meet a lot of annoying negative people who just work to get a paycheck. What's the fun of being around those people?" It might seem like a fair assumption that everybody takes their job seriously, but that's not always the case. However, if you do take your craft seriously, that can be very infectious. 7. Stay in touch. Because you don't ask people to become your mentor, you want to put it differently. If you can tell that they enjoyed meeting with you, you can say, "This was very useful." If you feel the same, do you want to make this a recurring thing? Be prepared to hear a no. Some people might be busy or focused on a project. Take it graciously and say you understand, but don't go into hiding. Try to send them relevant things in the future. Finally, when it comes to frequency, I speak to my mentors every 2 to 3 months. And in between meetings, we sometimes exchange emails for things like book recommendations, articles, or questions. Unless you have the opportunity to work together on a frequent basis, you don't need to meet your mentor every week because you want to take their advice and apply it. So give it some time. But try to keep the momentum by staying in touch via email or text messages. These are my tips. I don't know all the answers, and this is not a clear-cut blueprint. Don't expect to find one anywhere either. Finding a mentor is not a formal thing, so don't treat it like one. Mentorship is like friendship, and that's what your mentor eventually becomes, your friend. Always keep that in mind. How to build the self-confidence you need to win at life. Do you ever feel shitty about yourself? It happens all the time to most of us. It seems like everyone is building billion-dollar businesses, becoming YouTube stars, or making it big on Instagram. Deep down, most of us also know that it's 99% bullshit. But at the same time, we see all these people living awesome lives, and we don't care if it's real or not. Whether you want money, fame, travel, or none of that stuff, it doesn't matter because it always comes down to this. How confident are you? Are you confident enough to say fuck it and pursue your dream? Are you confident enough to say fuck all this bullshit, I don't need it, and stay grounded? You see, self-confidence is important if you want to win at life. No matter what you're after, a lack of confidence will always hold you back. Research even shows that lack of self-confidence is associated with depression, loneliness and feeling left out, lower academic achievement, lower life satisfaction. I've researched self-confidence for years, and the most practical theory that I've found is something called confidence by competence. In 1952, Bernice Milburn Moore published an article called Self-Confidence for Competence in the Journal of Educational Leadership. In the article, she discusses self-confidence for teachers, but I've found it useful in all settings of life. If you look up the definition of self-confidence, you always get more or less the same description. Moore describes it as a trust in self, a faith in one's ability to be able to meet situations as they may arise. But more importantly, she says, self-confidence without competence is of as little use as is competence without self-confidence. It means this: going to business school is competence. But using your business competence to lead a company is self-confidence plus competence. They are only useful when combined. That analogy goes both ways. Just confidence in yourself without the competence is also useless. Talking the talk is not a sustainable strategy. You need the talk and bravado, but you also need to develop the skills to back up your talk. Building your self-confidence. So you become more self-confident if you become better at what you do. That's the system, and it's backed by research. How can you use this information? The following process is easy, but completing the steps takes hard work. It goes like this. 1. Improve your competencies. 2. Put them into practice. 3. See results. 4. Grow more confident. 5. Repeat. That's the process. That's great and all, but what if I don't see results? Plus, I don't have the time to practice. If you want to make excuses, that's fine. It's your life. But this method of building self-confidence is based on real, tangible steps, and not intangible stuff like affirmations. Confidence doesn't appear magically by itself. You can tell yourself every day that you're confident, lucky to be alive, or whatever, but if you lack the skills to get shit done, you'll never truly believe in yourself. And that's my biggest issue with a lot of self-help theory and writers. Yes, affirmations, positive thinking, goal setting is all great, but it's nothing without execution. How can you expect to build confidence if you never do anything? It's impossible. Nothing builds self-esteem and self-confidence like accomplishment. Thomas Carlyle. What competencies should I improve? That depends on what you're after. But there are also some skills that I believe every person can benefit from. Emotional intelligence. Research shows that humans are inherently social. Without good relationships, we die. And if you want good relationships, you need emotional intelligence, understanding other people's emotions and how to respond to them. This is something you can learn. Self-awareness. You can practice self-awareness by continuous self-reflection. Write down your thoughts. Try to understand why you do, what you can do better, and what you're doing well. Know yourself. Problem solving. Our current school system dates from the Industrial Revolution. We're trained to become cogs in a wheel. We're not trained to solve problems in complex situations. Instead, we do what we are told. But the world has changed, and in the current state, the person that is better at problem solving will win. Don't fool yourself into thinking that your life will be better as long as you wish for it. When you put in work and see the results, like a stronger body, more energy, more money, or whatever you're after, you start believing in your ability to get shit done. Now go out there, do things, get better at them, see results, repeat that process and grow more confident. 5 ways to build a thicker skin so you can go through life smiling. Do you ever feel hurt by what people say about you? Well, it's a part of life, so you better get used to it. I'm amazed by how quickly people get upset. And I'm not talking about getting upset about real things like disease, death, or not having food. I'm talking about the small stuff of daily life. Why are our feelings hurt when the littlest things happen? Someone disagrees with you. A coworker says something bad about you. Someone always is lucky and you are not. Your friend stabs you in the back. You don't like your job. People don't like your art. So what? In the past I would get hurt by those things. And said that about me? What the fuck? My life is over. That's what I said when I found out that my first ex-girlfriend said bad stuff about me years ago. As a youngster you think your life is over fairly quickly, especially with those kinds of shenanigans. But then I got over it. Come on, you can't get upset about nonsense. I see it all the time. Bloggers get their feelings hurt and start writing about how they have to deal with criticism. I see friends who don't start working on their dream because someone close to them said they couldn't do it. People I work with never take the plunge because they are afraid of the potential criticism. Why would you listen or even care? Ernest Hemingway, considered as one of the best authors of all time and one of my favorite writers, said this in his memoir, A Movable Feast. He started talking about my writing, and I stopped listening. If you want to live your life like that, you need a thick skin to tune out the voices outside of you. Because what happens when you get upset or let other people get the best of you? You might give up what you do, you question yourself. Or maybe you start changing yourself for the worse, you stop being yourself. Having a thick skin is important, especially if you want to go through life smiling. Here's how I've grown a thick skin over the years. 1. Don't shy away from confrontation. I'm all about kindness. But I'm also about not taking any shit. A few years ago, I found out that one of my co-workers wasn't honest to upper management. I kept quiet. I was afraid of the confrontation. And that was a huge mistake because that idiot caused a lot of damage to the people in that company. I don't want to be Superman, who always comes to the rescue. But if something unjust happens, I'm doing something about it. Maybe it backfires, but at least I did the right thing. Also, if people treat me unfairly, I tell it to them straight. I don't get angry. It's not cool to treat people badly. I just let my moral compass speak for me. You don't have to be kind 100% of the time. If people screw me or others over, I'm not going to just let it slide. The more you stand up for yourself and others, the better you get at it. You will find out that it's not a big deal. Confrontation doesn't mean you have to fight people with your fists. Do it with your words or actions. And always keep calm. 2. It's never personal. Oh, poor you, someone stabbed you in the back at work. But you know what? It's not personal, honestly. I don't want to justify bad behavior. But never forget that the other person is doing it to get ahead. That's what people do. Even though life is not a zero-sum game, life still remains a competition. We compete for attention, love, money, jobs. If you lose, or someone doesn't like you, it's not personal. They don't know you. Why would you question yourself? Am I really a bad friend? Am I a bad person? No one likes me. That's your mind coming up with weird stuff. I prefer to look at things for what they are. Life is a competition, and sometimes you lose, that's all. Get over it. Don't start losing faith in mankind all of a sudden. Nothing is personal. The world doesn't revolve around you. Let us try to teach generosity and altruism, because we are born selfish. Richard Dawkins. 3. Express yourself online. People online give you their unfiltered opinion. Yes, you can hide behind your computer and maybe it's stupid sometimes. But that's also a good thing. In real life, people are never 100% honest with you, especially not your friends and family. If you want to get some real feedback, go and publish something online. Write a piece on Medium. Start a discussion on Reddit. Upload a video on YouTube. And read the comments. If you don't get any comments, ask for them. Approach people one-on-one and ask for their opinion. Or put up a link on a forum and ask people for their opinion. If people like you, great. If they don't, so what? 4. Put things in perspective. According to the most recent statistics, 12.7% of the world's population lived at or below $1.90 a day. What was that again? Someone yelled at you? or someone said something nasty to you on the internet. Every time I get slightly upset about things, I remind myself how lucky I am. I am healthy, and I have food and shelter. That's all you need. 5. You don't have to be liked by everyone. I recently met a person who said that Gandhi was just an attention seeker. Can you believe that? And so was Nelson Mandela, MLK, or any other historical figure according to him. The guy who said that is a real idiot. And I never bother responding to idiots, online and offline. If people don't like Gandhi, don't expect that everyone does like you. It's impossible, so why strive for impossible things? It's not a you can't build an airplane type of impossible. Like I've said before, never let rules hold you back. But some things will never happen. One of those things is being liked by every person in the world. So don't sweat it. And that's what you do when you have a thick skin. Never sweat and always smile. Thanks for watching.